D-backs are in Denver, and oftentimes that means dealing with the weather. Today has been no exception. Rain throughout the afternoon, thunderstorms coming and going, cool and windy, the whole thing. Tarp on the field all afternoon, canceled the Diamondbacks batting practice. But as you can see right now, cold and wet in Denver, but it's clearing for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Where if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. Welcome to Coors Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs and the Rockies, second of a three-game set here. Ruby De La Rosa gets the start tonight for the Diamondbacks. The lefty Chris Russin for the Rockies. And Bob, Jake Lamb is in there against the left-hander tonight.
Well, after what he did last night, I'm not surprised. That tape measure blast of a home run narrowly missed the second home run, ended up with a triple. Jake needs to put better at-bats together against left-handers to be in there on a daily basis. We saw some signs of that earlier this year. At times he struggled against lefty. Chris Russin should be a real good matchup for Jake Lamb tonight.
They like the approach from Jake versus the lefties. The results, though, haven't quite been there, but he's had 3 consecutive 2-hit games, so they're optimistic about Jake in there tonight. They also have, for the first time in a while now, Yasmani Tomas in the starting lineup. He's in there in left field.
Yeah, Yasmani's done a nice job against lefties this year, and everybody hits well in Coors Field, so good to see Yasmani back in the lineup tonight. Going to have to lay off that high fastball from Chris Russin, make him get it down in the zone.
D-backs with a 4-game winning streak, looking to make it 2 in a row over these Rockies before getaway day tomorrow. First pitch coming up from Denver. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life?
Downtown Denver, pouring rain a half hour ago. Skies above Coors Field are clear, so we are set for an on-time start. The D-backs and Rockies are next on Fox Sports Arizona. Skies over Coors Field are clear for the moment. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly, Jody Jackson, 58 degrees. More rain in the forecast, we are told. It has been raining all day here. In fact, it was pouring rain only about 30 minutes ago. Chip Hale's ball club did not get to take batting practice on the field, but they come into tonight, Bob, winners of 4 straight, and a chance here to make it 2 in a row over the Rockies and pull within a game of 500.
Yeah, really good ball game last night. A lot of contributors offensively. An outstanding start by Archie Bradley in this ballpark. Here's how Chip lines them up tonight. Gene Segura once again at second base. Brandon Drury out in right field tonight. Paul Goldschmidt with a couple of squared up balls in the game last night. He'll be at first base. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Jake Lamb at third. Yasmani Tomas back in left field. Chris Owings in center. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. And Ruby De La Rosa, the right-hander, on the mound.
It was funny about last night's ball game. Archie Bradley pitched a beauty, got out of some big jams, but the Diamondbacks were trailing after 4 innings, 4-1, and then seemed to use the Rockies' own ballpark against them, and we got an idea of why they are only 4-9 at home this year.
Yeah, go figure. I mean, this is a tough ballpark to play in, period. One thing you know going in is it's never over until you get that final out of the game. And even with a comfortable lead late last night, we had some shots at Chip Hale over there in the dugout, and he wasn't taking anything for granted.
And Archie Bradley, as Jody mentioned at the pregame show, sent to AAA Reno. Archie obviously would not be available to pitch for the next 4 or 5 days. So Evan Marshall is back up here. The reliever shuttle continues from Reno. Back and forth we go. But as Chip told us today, Jake Barrett, who pitched terrific last night, and Evan Marshall, who is now here tonight, are probably the most 2 deserving relievers to be here of all the guys who have been on that shuttle.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing when you have this optionable talent available like the Diamondbacks do this year with the relief pitcher shuttle is occasionally guys get sent down for no reason other than the fact they have options.
So we are just about set to go. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Rockies is Chris Russin, the 29-year-old lefty. He began this season in the bullpen, then made his first start this year against the D-backs at Chase Field. That was April 30th, and he pitched very well there. Only 1 hit allowed in 5 innings. However, his second start came last Thursday. That was against the Giants at AT&T Park in San Francisco, and he was absolutely shelled.
Yeah, went 4 1/3, gave up 7 runs on 13 hits, but escaped with a no decision in that ball game.
For more on Chris Russell, let's go downstairs to Jody.
Yeah, it's interesting. Walt Weiss likes to call Chris Russell the crafty lefty, which of course means he doesn't throw real hard, but he can be effective at times. But guys, it's a big contrast between Russell and Rubio De La Rosa tonight. Of course, De La Rosa throws very hard, and I asked Chip Hale about how power stuff plays here at Coors. Some feel that it can play much better if you can throw harder, and he said you can get away with maybe a mistake or two that normally you wouldn't here at Coors Field if you are throwing hard, but he said not all mistakes, so that'll be the key, as always, for Ruby tonight.
Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. Our eye on defense is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Only one change tonight for Walt Weiss. That's over at first base where Ben Paulson takes over for Mark Reynolds. It'll be Parra, Blackman, and Gonzalez left to right across the outfield. Arenado and Story on the left side of the infield. LeMahieu and Paulson on the right side. Tony Walters doing the catching for the lefty Chris Russell.
And as usual here last night with the Diamondbacks, 6-5 run lead late in the ballgame. Dinger, the front-running mascot, nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
Couldn't see him anywhere. Even when the Rockies started to make some noise there in the ninth inning, Bob, Dinger was gone. So how does that tie into your Valley Honda dealers' key to the game?
Well, it worked so well last night. We're going to go with it again. Keep Dinger caged.
Where he belongs.
I know Todd Walsh is a big fan of dingers, but not so much the booth here.
That's Dinger, the front-running mascot. The crew chief, John Hirschbeck, is our plate umpire tonight, calling the balls and strikes. Gene Segura steps in, and we are set to go under clear skies for the moment here at Coors Field. Ball one to Segura, who's hitting .341, and now after last night, 5 home runs. A little opposite field power from Gene on a ball that nobody here seemed to think was headed for the fence.
I think he got a little bit of an assist. We talked about the wind last night that was blowing straight in from left field when the game started, but when Gene Segura hit his fly ball to right, the wind was blowing from corner to corner, from left to right, and might have gotten a little help.
Just cleared that out-of-town scoreboard. Absolutely no wind right now. It's been, however, very breezy and windy all day today, but that's sort of the kind of a day it's been here. Russell not looking too crafty here. He's behind on Segura, 3 balls and a strike. And Gene last night, another multiple hit game. The double and the home run. He scored twice from the leadoff spot. And he's now hit safely in 7 straight. Full count, 3-2. Brandon Drury getting the start in right field. He's on deck. Got him. Russell comes back from 3-1 down to strike out Segura.
Now we know Gene Segura doesn't walk a lot, but also he doesn't strike out very often either. A little tailing fastball off that outside corner. That time just couldn't get a piece.
Here is Brandon Drury. 0 for 4 last night. He walked and scored a run. .298. He's got 6 homers.
I ran into Brandon Drury down by the indoor batting cages earlier today. I told you about this, and ask him, how do you like this ballpark? Because hitters always like this ballpark. And he paused for the longest time, and he was thinking, and he said, it's really not fair to compare stats from this ballpark to Atlanta.
He might be onto something.
He said Freddie Freeman might hit 150 home runs in this park.
And he might be right about that, too.
But, very observant early on in his career, learning the nuances of each ballpark and what you can and can't do depending on the conditions at the ballpark that particular day. He likes to hit here, though.
This is with a 1-1, 2 balls and a strike to Drury, who has started all 7 games on this road trip. And Brandon has got 8 hits on the trip, 3 doubles and a home run. He's able to check his swing. And again, Russell is behind in the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Still no David Peralta. They are concerned because David's wrist, as Chip Hale told us today, just doesn't feel that great, and he's obviously very important to the team. And it's a little better today, the Peralta wrist. Chip said, but if the pain is still lingering after this series, he will get checked out by Dr. Sheridan when we get back to Phoenix. And David mentioned to Chip that he could hit with the sore wrist if he changed his swing a bit, altered his mechanics, and as soon as Chip heard that, He said, no. Nope, sit down. We're going to try and stay away from you again here. Don't want that to lead to more problems. Up the middle, and he rolls it into center. A base hit for Drury.
As you mentioned earlier, partner, it's been raining off and on here really hard for a little while this afternoon. Actually had some hail on the field. So balls that roll through the infield, which was covered by the tarp, will immediately get wet when they hit that outfield grass.
And I imagine slow down, so if guys are playing back, once again, you can maybe sneak an extra base in there. That's what it looks like right now, but what does that mean? I mean, it could look completely different in 15 minutes. That's the way it's been. Here's Goldie. He was on base all night last night. A single, a double, a couple of walks. He scored 3 runs, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. And for the first time, Bob, in a while, he sort of looked like the Goldie we've come to know and love.
Yeah, not just a couple of base hits in the game, but the quality of contact. He really roped a couple of balls in that game last night, which has been a long time coming for Paul Goldschmidt.
And a double off the new wall in right center that would have been a home run last year. But it was the first time in a while we'd really seen him drive the ball with authority, especially the other way. And Chip was telling us today they were really pleased with what they saw from Goldie last night. And there's a key phrase the coaches have been emphasizing with him: aggressive in the zone. And Chip said last night when the ball was there in the strike zone, Goldie was aggressive in taking his swings, which is exactly what they want. Except for that time. Called strike 3, second strikeout for Russin. Let's see where this one was.
Well, Russin's a guy that'll tail his fastball away from the right-handed hitters. Might have caught a bit of the corner.
That's not one you're going to chase with 2 strikes, right?
He will cut the fastball in on the righties from time to time, but like a lot of pitchers in this ballpark, the breaking ball is the real determining factor. If he's not able to spin that slider up there, he's going to have to go to straight changeups. Same thing for Ruby De La Rosa tonight. Slider may not be as good as we've seen at the last couple starts.
Wellington Castillo. 3 hits and an RBI sac fly last night. He drove in 2 runs. And they really wanted his bat in the lineup tonight against Chris Russin. So it's Castillo in there tonight. Chris Herman will start tomorrow afternoon behind the plate. That's hard hit. Story at shortstop has it. Little shovel pass to LeMahieu for the force on Drury. And that's the end of the top of the first. We are playing ball in Denver. Ruby De La Rosa coming up next. Here with us at Coors Field, sent for the home half of the first against the Rockies. And your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Ruby De La Rosa. Pitched very well at Chase Field and wins over the Pirates and the Cardinals, but hit pretty hard by the Marlins his last time out. That was Wednesday in Miami.
It got hit pretty hard. It was more a situation of bad location than anything else. His stuff was very good, maybe the best slider we've seen him have in a while, but just made some mistakes up in the zone against that Marlins offense.
The lineup he'll face tonight for the Colorado Rockies.
Charlie Blackmon will be leading it off once again out in center field. Trevor Story at shortstop. Carlos Gonzalez out in right field. Nolan Arenado at third base. Gerardo Parra and his base running exploits out in left field. DJ LeMahieu will be at second base. Ben Paulson at first. Tony Walters catching. And Chris Russin on the mound.
And a look at the Diamondback defense brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers as Charlie Blackmon steps in to lead it off. There's the strike 0-1. Blackmon has hit safely in 7 straight. He's hitting .261 with 1 home run. That is smacked out to right field. Brandon Drury playing almost on the warning track out there. And it's a leadoff single for Blackmon. He led off last night's ball game with a base hit. Wound up scoring. Boy, Brandon is back, man. I mean, he's almost at Colorado Springs.
Well, you know, his comfort zone is coming in on the ball rather than going back. And with the wet grass, the ball might hydroplane when it gets out there and be a little quicker till it starts rolling through that wet grass. And you can see he's only a few steps off that warning track in right field.
Trevor Story. He has been a thorn in the Diamondbacks' side so far throughout his rookie season. Blackmon 2 for 3 this year in his stolen base attempts. He holds, and Story takes strike 1 at 96 from Ruby. Story had a pair of RBI doubles last night. He knocked in 3. 277 with 11 home runs. And Story in 7 games against the D-backs this year, 9 extra base hits, including 5 homers. 15 RBIs. He's been a problem. I was talking to one of the lovely ladies here that works along the way, along the concourse here, looking for some food. And talking to a very nice woman who's been here since the beginning, 1995, and she said, you know, we have this young man Story. He hits a lot of home runs, but you know, lately he's been striking out a lot. I said, I think you're right.
Yeah, you're on to something.
Yeah, struck out a couple of times last night. And Ruby walks Blackmon to second. Bill Welke over there at first. Tyler Clippard was called for a balk in last night's ball game.
Yeah, 2 balks in 2 days. Yeah, that's not good.
So Blackmon in scoring position, still 0-1 on Story. And Story does. She's right. He leads the National League in strikeouts. In fact, he's more than 10 strikeouts clear of the field in the National League.
You know, coming here to Coors Field, obviously on the big board between innings and before the game, they show a lot of highlights. And you know, looking at the highlights of Trevor Story, a lot of the home runs he's hit have been on strike breaking balls. The ability to extend his swing, even if he's fooled a little bit, it keeps his hands back. And if that breaking ball stays in the strike zone, a lot of his home runs have come on those pitches. And we saw the Diamondbacks last night challenge him with fastballs in, challenge him with fastballs away. He fouled off a lot of very hittable fastballs. Just be careful with those off-speed pitches in the zone.
And that's something that Chip Hale talked about before the game. If Ruby De La Rosa is going to be successful here tonight against this ball club in this ballpark, he has to use all of his pitches. He really has to mix things up. Cannot afford to make any mistakes, he said. Not against this club. That's in there for a strike. 1-2 now. You really do pitch here without a net, don't you?
Yeah, and usually without a breaking ball. I mean, we talked about Ruby's great slider he had against the Cardinals and also against the Marlins, but that last one at 84, as flat as it could be. Stayed on the same plane. It was in the strike zone, but didn't have that same downward movement we've seen recently.
Fastball at 97. Misses away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Trevor Story.
There's quite a few Diamondbacks fans here at Coors Field tonight. I know I ran into you earlier on the concourse when I was enjoying my dinner.
What a surprise.
There was a Diamondbacks fan that stood there for the longest time, and he kept looking and looking and looking, and finally he said, "I thought that was you." He said, "But I thought you were always kidding about the pizza." No, sir.
I walked by you and you were eating several slices of pizza sitting on top of a garbage can, which is pretty much the way it's been every night.
Yeah, why not?
It ain't broke. You need to wander out to the left field concourse, get yourself one of them Todd Helton burgers.
Yeah, I've been out there before. They've got some good stuff out that direction, but you know, that's what I had last night and we won. I walked the same route to the ballpark. I had the same pregame meal. Not that I'm superstitious or anything.
You didn't get caught in that rain, huh?
No, I left a little bit early.
Yeah, you timed it.
Yeah.
It was a monsoon here this afternoon. Although I checked in with the most accurate weather forecaster that all of us know, the Governor Greg Schulte. And I have been assured by the Governor that we will have no delays here tonight.
Nice. Attaboy, Gub.
That is, I should also point out, contrary to the forecast. Story really battling Ruby here. Now, I imagine in a situation like this, if you don't think your slider, in Ruby's case, or whatever breaking ball you may have as the pitcher, if you don't think it's going to take the break or move like you need it to move, how do you put away a guy like this with 2 strikes if you don't have that pitch?
Well, you can put him away with a fastball. You can bounce a change up. I mean, that slider there stayed up around the letters. That was a hanger right over the middle of the plate. Story about came out of his cleats swinging at it. It's just location. I mean, just because your slider isn't breaking the way you'd like it to doesn't mean you have to completely scrap it. You just have to maybe scoot your target out a little bit farther and make sure that pitch doesn't stay in the middle of the plate.
Cannot afford to make mistakes. Chip Hale kept emphasizing that today. He got him. Ruby wins the battle. He strikes out Story, 1 away.
They've got that slider to take the break, but look how flat it is as opposed to the one that we've seen him throw in the past that had a lot of downward movement. That's a good pitch and a good location right there.
Carlos Gonzalez, 315 and 4 homers for Cargo. He singled, doubled, and scored a run last night. Also struck out twice. Blackman at second, 1 out. Not really a shift here for the Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, right behind the runner Blackman at second. Missed inside at 96, 1-0.
A good live fastball tonight from Ruby if he can just continue to spot that ball on the edges.
Yeah, that thing's got some hop to it tonight. 96, 97, zipping it in there.
You can tell by the sound of the ball hitting Wellington Castillo's mitt. When he squares one up right in the pocket of that glove, it sounds like a shotgun.
It's a piece. Castillo hangs on. A ball and a strike to Cargo. Cargo got off to a hot start. He homered 4 times by the middle of last month. But it's now been 20 games since he last homered. And during this 20-game stretch, he's got only 2 RBIs. In the seats, a ball and 2 strikes.
I feel a lot about Cargo like I did about Andrew McCutchen when the Pirates came to town not too long ago. He was not swinging the bat particularly well. You just hope he gets out of town before he gets hot. And the day McCutchen left town, he hit 3 home runs.
That's true. Here, actually.
Here, yeah. Yeah. You know Carlos Gonzalez, when he gets hot, he can carry a team on his shoulders for weeks at a time.
He is so streaky, and his highs are just so high. The lows can get a little low, even when he's healthy. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ruby. He got Story, and now he rings up Cargo.
I believe that was on another backdoor slider. Wellington sits way inside, reaches out across the plate, and it's definitely in the strike zone. I think that's another case of, depending on where the catcher sets up and has to reach for the ball, the batter sees that and assumes it's out of the zone, but that one clearly caught the strike zone.
Diamondbacks will shift over now toward the left-hand side for Arenado, who's hitting .317 and leading the league with 12 homers. Segura, the second baseman, right behind the runner Blackman at second. Goldie all by himself on the right-hand side. Strike 1. Arenado 1 for 5. He singled last night. Good numbers career against Ruby. Sky high pop up. Goldie going to give it a look right along the right field line, drifting into foul ground, and he's got it. So good job there by Ruby De La Rosa. He strands Blackman at second base and keeps it scoreless at Coors Field. Coors Field, time for the Gig Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox. Jake Lamb last night, a home run, a triple. He also walked twice, scored 3 times, and drove in 4. Not bad.
That was a high-speed homer coming off his bat, too. That ball went over 440 feet to the second deck in right field. Narrowly missed his second home run of the night right there, but ends up on third with a triple. Big night for Jake.
And in there at third base against the left-hander Russin. And batting 5th. He takes ball 1. Jake at .291 now with 4 homers. And the Rockies overload the right-hand side of the infield. Chip Hale told us today they do want to see better results from Jake against left-hand pitching, but the approach they like the approach. He's done all right. The results have not been there, however. And part of the reason that he hasn't gotten to play against lefties all the time, and again, Chip emphasized, look, this is an everyday player, but part of the reason he hasn't played against lefties is they have to find a spot for Brandon Drury. And so sometimes that has meant Jake is not in the starting lineup. But they believe with a good approach against lefties, the results will come.
That's really all you can control is the pitch that you swing at and the swing you put on it.
Bouncer over the mound. Story, the shortstop from the second base spot, throws him out, one away. Back in the lineup after a 4-game absence, El Tanque Yasmani Tomas, 284 and 5 homers. He has not played since the series finale in Miami. Out with that stiff neck.
I'll tell you, for a hitter to miss a game in this ballpark, you have to have bones sticking through the skin. You need to have vertebrae hanging on your shirt collar.
That one is slammed into left field. A base hit for Tomas. He jumps on the first pitch. Well, a lot of that was Chip Hale. Chip would not let him start yesterday's game, Chip told us, until he could see Tomas take a full round of BP, take aggressive cuts at the ball, run, throw, do everything just to make sure he was okay. And then if he was, he would start tonight, and that's the way it worked out.
And so far, so good. One pitch, clean base hit into left field.
It's like he never left.
Like he never left.
Chris Owings now. Ball one to CO, who's hitting .258. He's knocked in 8 runs. 1 for 5 last night, an RBI single that he just shot the other way down the right field line. Chris has been holding down the fort in center field, and all things considered has done a very nice job. He's covered a lot of ground out there and looked good. But the Diamondbacks today did announce the signing of free agent center fielder Michael Bourne to a minor league deal. He was leading off for AA Mobile today. Michael Bourne, a 2-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner. Released by the Braves and the Blue Jays this year. He's 33. So some depth, some insurance for the Diamondbacks organizationally. They did not put Bourne at AAA because they didn't want to block the progress of some of the prospects, notably Evan Marzilli.
And I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume there is some kind of a date in the contract for Michael Bourne where if he's not called up to the major leagues by a certain date, he can become a free agent again and try to sign on somewhere else. But Diamondbacks, because of the outfield situation, looking for some depth.
This is hit high in the air, right center field. Charlie Blackmon over there with Gonzalez. It'll be Blackmon for the second out. Now, Bourne was released by Atlanta right after the season started, picked up by the Blue Jays, and then they released him over the weekend. Nick Ahmed now. Tomas at first, 2 down. Nick in there at $162 and 3 home runs. D-back so far with 2 hits against the lefty Chris Russin. Singles by Drury and Tomas. And Russin really had a rough time of it in his last start. We mentioned that. That was Thursday against the Giants at San Francisco. He lasted 4 1/3. Was tagged for 7 runs, all earned on 13 hits. Ouch.
You give up 13 hits and 7 runs in 4 innings and get a no decision. That's a win.
You're right. The Rockies rotation so far, it's sort of been like the Little Lebowski Urban Achievers, you know, disadvantaged, but all things considered, they're doing a nice job. It may, however, be catching up to Walt Weiss's staff. Tyler Chatwood, as we've talked about and saw last night, has had some difficult starts here at Coors Field. Russin was moved into the rotation only when Jorge De La Rosa strained a groin. And they have had some promising outings from first rounders like John Gray and Eddie Butler, but those guys are still young and unproven. It always seems like no matter how well they start off, this ballpark catches up to these pitchers.
Takes its toll over the course of a long season for those guys that are here all year long.
And their ERA as a staff in this ballpark is about 7.5. They have a 6-game home losing streak right now for the Rockies, and during that losing streak, their team ERA is 9.69. In there for a strike, 2-2. In fact, during the 6-game home losing streak, their relief pitchers have thrown more innings than their starters.
Yikes.
That won't work. You think our bullpen's tired? Rockies only 4-9 at home this year. Full count to Nick, 3-2. Ruby on deck. Tomas will be off from first with a pitch. There he goes. Misses inside. A walk to Nick Ahmed, so the Diamondbacks here in the second will clear the pitcher spot.
Good at bat that time by Nick. Questionable call for strike 2, but ends up taking that pitch off the plate for ball 4. And you get Ruby out of the way, hopefully with a base hit here.
Here is Ruby.
Going mountain man tonight. No batting gloves, no nothing. Just get in there and hack.
Tomas, the runner at second, Ahmed at first. 2 outs. He hacks. Ben Paulson backs up at first. He's got it. And Russin strands 2. No score in Colorado. The D-backs and the Rockies.
Half of the second inning. Time to take a look back to baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Who is that young guy?
That looks like Shelby Miller.
That sure is Shelby Miller. On this date in baseball history, he fired a one-hitter, the only hit the first batter he faced in the game. Eric Young, he just retired 27 in a row after that, pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Attacking with that fastball. Shelby Miller scheduled to start Friday's game against Jeff Samardzija, Giants and D-backs at Chase Field. Everybody in the dugout bundled up.
13 punch-outs in that game for Shelby Miller. That's a good way to go about it in this ballpark, or in any ballpark.
Attack, strike guys out, limit base runners. In fact, Chip Hale was talking about that before the ball game today. It's one of the things that made him so disappointed in the defense last night, which was a little sloppy. He said it created extra base runners. And he said the more guys you put on base in this ballpark, the more weird things can happen. And so it's not about the defense. It's true, though, for Rubio. You need to limit the base traffic around you, because when you get guys on base, then you get in trouble.
Yeah, this ballpark really changes a lot of people's philosophy on the game. When Don Baylor managed here, he used to play his infield in the first inning. And I asked him, why would, in a ballpark where the score is likely to be 18-17, why would you try to cut off a run in the first? He says, because you never know what that run is going to mean come the ninth inning. His theory was cut him off at the plate, throw as many guys out at home as you possibly can, because we may need that one run in the ninth inning to win 18-17.
Gerardo Parra leads off the Rockies second against Ruby De La Rosa. Ruby throwing hard tonight. Saw the numbers on Parra, 298, 3 home runs. He had 3 hits and an RBI last night. He doubled twice. He's got 12 doubles on the year. Slow roller the other way, right to Nick Ahmed. Throws him out, 1 away. That's 4 straight set down by Ruby.
And we saw Parra last night hitting the ball to the opposite field. Both of his doubles came to the opposite field. One right down the line, one in the gap in left center, and that time a ground ball to the left side again. Not sure if that's something he's trying to do intentionally or the Diamondbacks are just pitching him that way.
Speaking of hitting the ball the other way,
Oh.
DJ LeMahieu, 309, 2 homers. Single, doubled, scored a run last night. He was 2 for 4. And as usual, both hits right and right center.
It's kind of surprising to see Goldie play as far off that first baseline as he is right now with LeMahieu at the plate.
How much would you seriously shift the other way on him?
I don't think you can. I mean, he's capable of pulling the ball. He just tries to hit to the weakness of the defense, and depending on what the pitcher throws him, and a lot of times he leads with his hands. He lets the barrel of the bat drag behind, so when he does make contact, it's usually going to go to the opposite field. I've never seen an opposite field shift on a hitter, but this might be the guy.
The way things are going, it seems inevitable. Ruby De La Rosa strikes out LeMahieu. That's 3 strikeouts for Ruby. 2 down in the second.
It's not the same top shelf high quality slider that we've seen from Ruby lately, but it's been very effective in the early going.
Well, he looks comfortable out there, doesn't he?
He does. I guess when you got 97 in your back pocket whenever you want it, it's easy to feel comfortable out there on the mound.
Ben Paulson, the left-hander, getting the start at first base tonight. They do shift for Paulson. Well, that's a great sign, because we've talked about this ad nauseum. The idea that they're just trying to get Ruby to believe in his stuff. Trust your stuff. Go out there and attack, because when you're throwing this hard, this well, they're not going to hit you. You got to get him to have conviction in his stuff. Little change up, 1-1. And he looks tonight like a guy who believes in his stuff, even in this ballpark. Paulson slaps that foul the other way, and Ruby's ahead of ball in 2 strikes. Paulson has not had too many consistent at-bats. He doesn't play a lot. Reynolds has had a real good year at first base. So they haven't split the time up there as often as most people thought they might. Paulson has mostly been on the bench. That's right to Goldie, a fair ball. Ruby's there, and he works a 1-2-3 second. He's retired 6 in a row. No score here at Coors Field.
In the ball game as we head to the top half of the third. It'll be the top of the order for the Diamondbacks. Hey fans, a D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
No score in the third as Gene Segura leads it off for the Diamondbacks against Rockies lefty Chris Russin. Segura coming off another multiple hit game last night. He doubled and homered. He goes the other way off Tyler Chatwood. It just does sneak out of here over the out-of-town scoreboard. His 5th of the year. Are you surprised we've seen as much pop from Gene Segura in that bat as we have?
Yeah, especially the opposite field pop. Now that one last night, obviously you're in Colorado and you had some wind blowing out to right field at the time, but we've seen him drive some balls to that gap in right center over the head of right fielders. I think it's in there. You know, if he chose to try to hit for more power, I would imagine the average would suffer a little bit. He might swing and miss a little bit more, but yeah, when he squares it up, it jumps off his bat.
That's why they don't really try and change who he is. He's not your typical leadoff man by any stretch. Doesn't walk, doesn't extend at bats. He is an aggressive swinger, always has been. And it's to the great credit of the coaching staff and the front office here that they've let him be who he is, and it's paid off magnificently. He's hitting .341 on the year and playing like an all-star. The guy he was a few years ago, 2-2. And a lot of people said he would never be again. Not here.
No, a lot of people have been wrong before.
No. That one is hit hard, and it drops in front of Parra, a base hit for Gene Segura, who's now hit safely in 8 straight. Everything he hits is hard hit.
Right on the button. It looked like Russin tried a little quick pitch or something out there on the mound. Yeah, just kind of jumped into his delivery, and Gene Segura said, that's not going to work on me.
Brandon Drury now. Drury singled his first time up. That sun over there, we talked about that last night for the first baseman, Ben Paulson. This is right about the time it gets dicey over there. Looking directly into the sun, which is setting behind the left field foul pole. Right on the edge of the sun and shadow right now.
We're talking with Dave McKay before the ball game about Russin and could the Diamondbacks run on him. He is extremely slow to the plate. He's got a couple of different pickoff moves. He's got one that involves a high leg kick, kind of tries to freeze the runner over there, and then he has that Robbie Ray step off snap throw, and usually he'll set up the snap throw with the slow move before it.
Which is what you'd like to see Robbie Ray do, right?
Absolutely. Try to tempt that runner into taking an extra half a step on his lead and then put the quick move on.
Brandon Drury shoots this out to right field, but Gonzalez runs it down, and that's the first out here in the third. You saw Ben Paulson go over to the mound and talk to Russin. I imagine it was about that sun. You can see it's in Segura's face right now.
I remember seeing Todd Helton when he was playing first base for the Rockies get into a catcher's crouch over there to try to get down below the sun so he could see pickoff throws.
There's cloud cover coming in, so it's not quite as bad as it was last night, but still no picnic for the guys over there. Goldie now struck out looking his first time up. There's the snap throw. Segura 4 for 5 at his stolen base attempts this year. All kinds of room on the right side for Goldie. LeMahieu way over by the second base bag, and Paulson holding on Segura at first.
Well, not only was I a guess hitter, I was a guess base runner too. And if I was on first base right now, I'd take off.
Why?
Banking on the fact they're not going to throw 3 pickoff moves to first base in a row.
Segura holds. They don't. Ball 1. Talking about Chip Hale's philosophy with Goldie, be aggressive in the zone. That doesn't mean they want him to chase pitches out of the zone. When it's in there, they want him swinging.
Got called out on a borderline strike his first time up. Check swing there, but it's a strike, 1-1.
Goldie with a long look down to Matt Williams there as he went through the signs. I don't think you'd put a hit and run on with Paul Goldschmidt at the plate. You're not going to bunt with Goldie at the plate. But Goldie does want to know if Gene Segura has the steal sign, because that might change his approach as a hitter. If he knows that Gene Segura is going to be running, DJ LeMahieu figures to be the guy to cover second base with this defensive alignment, which would mean an even bigger hole on the right side of the field.
Two balls and a strike. Set up, down and in. They got him for a strike. It's 2-2. Called strike 3. Went back inside and got him. Goldie strikes out looking for the second time. Let's see where this is. It's the same one as before. It's John Hirschbeck back there. It's not like a blatantly missed call, but they're very much borderline pitches. 3 strikeouts for Russ, and here's Wellington Castillo.
Saw something today, partner, I don't think I've ever seen before. Maybe I just didn't notice it before, but we went out to the third base dugout to talk to Chip before the ball game today, going down the steps and then up the steps into the dugout. There's an oxygen tank.
I didn't see that.
Sitting
really?
right at the bottom of the steps by the third base dugout.
Segura takes off. He had a tremendous jump. Russin had a little almost sort of half hesitation move in the middle of his delivery that time, and Segura was flying into second.
Yeah, once again talking to Dave McKay, against a lot of lefties you just take off on first movement, but he said Russin can be so slow to the plate you don't need to be that aggressive. You can wait to see him lift his leg and still steal a bag because he's still going to be 1-6 or higher to home plate.
What's considered fast?
Well, you know, 1-3, 1-3-5, right around there, depending on your catcher's arm.
Story at shortstop. The force on Segura. Well, we'll take an oxygen break.
Yeah.
The bottom third coming up.
Breathe.
Follow Arizona Diamondbacks baseball fans live with the MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, the whole thing. Just download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Tony Walters, the catcher, the 8th place hitter, will lead it off for the Rockies against Ruby De La Rosa, who has looked very good here tonight. That fastball is humming for Ruby. He's got 3 strikeouts. He's retired 6 straight. Charlie Blackmon had a leadoff single. He was balked to second base, but since then, Ruby 6 up, 6 down. Here's Walters, who is starting behind the plate for the 2nd night in a row. He was 0 for 3 last night. They are without Nick Hundley, who's on the 15-day DL with a left oblique strain, and Walters in there at 154.
Big out to get right here. Always important to get that number 8 hitter when he's leading off the inning. That forces the pitcher to come up there and act like a hitter. If Walters is able to reach, then you're probably going to bunt with Chris Russell.
1-2. More and more cloud cover now. Some big dark ones moving in. Lights are taking much more of an impact on the field. Now you get clouds here like nowhere else. I mean, that's what we're looking at. All that is pretty much coming toward us. I see Gene Krantz over there has got his weather system. What you got over there?
We're good. We're good to go.
So the governor may be right.
It could be. Wouldn't be surprised.
He always is about the weather.
I mean, you know, just judging from the direction that the weather's supposedly moving, we should be good for quite a while.
Missed away at 97, and he's worked at full 3-2. There's not much of a wind. The flags have picked up just a bit here. Blowing across right to left. Full count on Tony Walters, the catcher. Back up the middle, a base hit. 2nd hit for the Rockies. So now Chris Russin doesn't have to hit. He can bunt, as you mentioned.
He's yet to put down a sac bunt this year.
Infield will come in. Conference time on the mound.
Diamondbacks defensively expecting a bunt from Chris Russin. Jake Lamb already drawn well in front of the bag down there at 3rd, and Goldie will come charging in from 1st as Ruby delivers a pitch.
Goldie starts off holding Walters on the bag, crashes. The bunt is first base side. Ruby's got to play at 2nd. A wide throw, and they're able to get the forces. Ahmed makes a nice save there and kept his foot on the bag. May have had a chance to turn too, but the throw is headed out to left center.
Yeah, good save out there by Nick that time. And the standard rule of thumb on any sac bunt situation is get an out. It'd have been nice to turn the double play right there, and a good throw. The D-backs probably do get 2, but at least they got 1, and it was the lead man.
Charlie Blackmon singled his first time up. That is a Colorado Rockies beard.
It really is.
I think it looks like Robert Redford out there. Jeremiah Johnson kind of a thing. You could picture him just living in the mountains. In a tent someplace, killing them. All he can eat. Eating berries. He's now hit safely in 8 straight games. That guy too. Charlie's not a mountain man per se. He's from Swanee, Georgia. He played at Georgia Tech.
Rockies' second-round pick back in '08, a converted pitcher.
How did the Braves let him get away? We talked about that when we were in Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves have notoriously been really good about scouting and drafting guys from the state of Georgia, from the city of Atlanta and surrounding areas. Charlie Blackmon escaped.
He was drafted out of high school by the Marlins in the 28th round as a pitcher. Decided to go to junior college instead. Never threw that hard. Topped out upper 80s, and then he developed elbow problems. So he transferred to Georgia Tech as a hitter. Wound up hitting .396. And the Rockies got him in the second round, basically after he'd been a hitter for only 1 year. And it's worked out nicely. Ruby's got 3 strikeouts. He's ahead, a ball and 2 strikes on Blackmon, with Russin the pitcher at first. '97 misses up and away, 2-2. Charlie Blackmon singled, walked, scored a run last night. Also drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Struck him out. Ruby, that's 4 strikeouts, 2 down.
Well, that slider once again put it in a good spot. Started on the inside corner, drops down underneath the bat of Charlie Blackmon. He's a tough guy to strike out. That was a heck of a pitch.
Tell you what, when Ruby's stuff is working and he's got conviction in it, he is as good as anybody out there. Trevor Story, a strikeout victim.
Well, as we've seen this year and last year as well, the slider can occasionally be a little inconsistent, but when it's good, he has 3+ pitches out there on the mound. A fastball that can just overpower hitters, a straight changeup that can be devastating, and when the slider's good, it's as good as anybody's.
And as Chip said, he's going to have to use all 3 tonight and do a good job mixing them up. 0-1 on Story. And Chip always credits Mike Butcher, who has really worked with Ruby on getting him to believe in his stuff and not go out there just trying to trick people. Up and in on Story at 96. He buzzed the tower.
I like it.
Why?
Yeah, not as close as Story made it look right there, but we saw it the very first series of the season. Story really likes to dive in there. He has no fear of that pitch inside, which is probably why he's such a good breaking ball hitter. He can cover that outside corner because he dives in toward the plate a little bit. That should keep him honest.
Broken bat, roller to shortstop. Ahmed's there for the force on Russin, and that's the inning. No score through 3 at Coors Field.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
You know, fan events on the field between innings at ballparks are one thing. This is something that the Rockies do. This is no joke. They line a guy up on the left field warning track, all right? He's got 25 seconds to sprint all the way in, put the base in, and then cross the line. And this guy actually made it with about 2 seconds to spare.
Yeah.
But you have to run, I mean, you got to run like you're on fire to make it. It's no joke.
And the key to the whole thing is getting the bag in the hole out there.
Everybody always stalls there.
Yeah, the guy last night got hung up for 10 seconds trying to get the base in place.
But, I mean, you have to be in an Olympic sprint as soon as they say go just to even get close. I mean, all the way from the left field warning track across the first baseline. Here's Jake Lamb. You know, it's one thing to toss a few outfield pop-ups at somebody, and they catch him if they don't find. I mean, somebody's going to blow out doing that. They're going to wheel the poor guy off the field.
It's rained all day. The outfield grass is wet. He's wearing some smooth sneakers.
Jake Lamb, the shift is on. He hits right into it. A hard hit ball. Story's got to collect it, and he throws him out. Takes a base hit away from Jake. Well, that was a good at bat by Lamb against the lefty Russin. He hit it hard, but right to Story. I mean, if that's not an example of why these defensive shifts have become so popular, I don't know what is.
That should have been a leadoff base hit into center field with a normally positioned defense, but as it is, Jake's back in that third base dugout, 0 for 1.
As Manny Tomas singled his return from a neck injury that kept him out for 4 games. His first game since Thursday in Miami. He swung at the first pitch in his first at bat and hit a base hit to left field. So tonight it's an outfield left to right of Tomas, Owings, and Drury. And it was funny to see the outfield last night with Drury, Owings, Herman. You've got a third baseman, a shortstop, and a catcher in this outfield, but for the most part it worked out fine.
And the catcher had the most experience. The most games started as an outfielder. There's that quick pitch again from Chris Russin. A little reminiscent of Johnny Cueto, who does that from time to time.
We're going to see Johnny Cueto. How about this? Thursday at Chase. Get your tickets now, fans. dbacks.com. Cueto and Greinke Thursday. Opener of that 4-game set against the Giants. And then Friday, Shelby Miller and Jeff Samardzija. So some premier pitching matchups. First 2 games of that series. Giants and D-backs finally back home at Chase. dbacks.com/tickets, fans. And those will be 2 must-see games. Tomas shoots one into the left center field gap. That's going to roll and get to the wall. Now Asmani will roll into second with his 8th double. So he's missed 4 games. First game back, he's 2 for 2. Driving the bus.
Ball was struck well toward that gap in left center, and I talked earlier about the wet grass in the outfield. Looked like this one kind of hydroplane and skips all the way out there to the wall. An easy double for Tomas.
Brings up Chris Owings. Diamondbacks have had 1 hit against Russin in every inning so far. So that's been it. They had 2 on in the second. A single by Tomas, a walk to Ahmed, but De La Rosa grounded out to end the inning. So trying to put together a threat here. Owings flying out to center his first time up. When you hear the term crafty lefty, what do you think of?
A lack of velocity is the first thing that comes to mind, because if the guy could throw hard, he wouldn't be called a crafty lefty. But yeah, guys that nibble at the corners and maybe throw off speed pitches in obvious fastball counts.
Randy Johnson was not a crafty lefty.
No.
That one is going to sneak through. A base hit. Matt Williams will wave Tomas home. Here's the throw from Gonzalez. And Tomas is out of there. Walters hangs on. An aggressive send by Matt Williams.
I think the Diamondbacks might want to check this for blocking the plate without the ball.
Yeah, Tony Walters, remember, is a converted middle infielder. Did he leave Tomas a path to the plate? Here comes Chip Hale to talk to John Hirschbeck.
This was a risky send. Carlos Gonzalez has a real good arm out there in right field.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's all over that baseline, it appeared. Still doesn't have the ball. Yeah, it looked like he dropped that left foot back there and was maybe bobbling the ball, too.
Well, you can request a review.
I think they just want to make sure exactly what it is that Chip wants them to look for in the review.
You must use a challenge to review what is known as the collision rule, the Buster Posey rule, Rule 713. If a manager is out of his challenges after the start of the 7th inning, the crew chief can choose to look at it. And Hirschbeck will gather his group together. I mean, if that's not blocking the plate, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
and the play is under review.
See if he has control of the ball. It looked like it kind of popped out the end of his glove right there before he grabs it with his bare hand and cradles it back against his body.
And even if he had the ball in the glove, I'm not sure he tagged him.
Well, I'm not so sure Yasmani hit the plate either.
Well, there is that. So here we go. They could be looking at Rule 713. They could be looking at whether Walters even had the ball in the first place.
Yeah, I think Matt Williams was so aggressive on that send is exactly what we talked about earlier. Wet grass in the outfield. You're not always going to be able to get a good grip on the baseball, and was probably hoping that Cargo threw a spitball in there from right field.
Yeah, Walters, after Yasmani initially came in and collided with him, sort of laid all over home plate. This was a quick review here, it looks like. He is out at home. (9-2) on the putout at home of Yasmani Tomas, a base hit for Owings. And Chip getting an explanation from the crew chief, John Hirschbeck, who's got the plate tonight. And again, remember, that call is not made here, it's made in New York. Owings took second on the throw. So he's at second in scoring position with 2 outs. Here's another look. I don't see a path to the plate.
I don't either. I don't get that call. He dropped that left foot back there before he had the baseball in his glove. Really gave Yasmani nowhere to go but slide into that shin guard.
Nick Ahmed walked his first time up. First pitch swinging, pops it up. First base side, LeMahieu chases away Paulson, and they strand Owings at second base. So we still are scoreless here at Colorado.
Time now, fans, for greater coverage of baseball. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the rest of the National League West. Padres at Wrigley right now, trailing the Cubs 6-3, fifth inning. Later tonight, Jacob deGrom for the Mets, Alex Wood for the Dodgers in L.A. And Jay Happ on the mound for the Blue Jays against the 0-4 Matt Cain at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Giants come in to Chase Field for the first of 4 on Thursday. Don't forget, Zach Greinke versus Johnny Cueto in that ball game. dbacks.com/tickets. Carlos Gonzalez, who threw out Yasmani Tomas at the plate to lead off the fourth against Ruby De La Rosa, who has looked outstanding so far tonight. Ruby has given up only 2 hits, both singles. He's got 4 strikeouts, including a strikeout of Gonzalez in the first. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks against Cargo. First pitch is lifted into the seats and out of play. How about this on Ruby De La Rosa, Bob? The great Dan Hyatt, who's manning the desk here tonight, gave us this. Ruby has now worked in his career 22 innings in this ballpark. He has only given up 7 earned runs. So as of this moment, his ERA at Coors Field is 2.86.
Wow.
That's going to reach the seats as well. So if you put together a list of pitchers who have thrown at least 20 innings in this ballpark, Ruby's 2.86 ERA is currently the 8th best in all of baseball. So he has really pitched well here. He's ahead of Cargo, 0-2. Got him. 5 strikeouts for Ruby De La Rosa. He's now punched out Cargo twice.
Another good slider down and in, right underneath the swing of that left-handed hitter.
Nolan Arenado popped up his first time. Arenado tied with Robinson Cano for the Major League home run lead.
That noise you heard in the background was Carlos Gonzalez returning his bat and helmet to their proper locations.
He's not happy.
No.
And Arenado got all tangled up, swing and a miss on that last pitch, 0-1. High fly ball, left center field. Tomas and Owings out there. Yasmani calling for it. It's drifting on him, but he's got it. And they retire Arenado for the second time tonight. Make room for him near that bat rack.
It was a nice play by Yasmani. That ball was hit high in the air to left center field. Chris Owings could have made the play, but Yasmani never took his eye off the ball. It's that time of night with the big gray clouds rolling over, and occasionally that baseball will go up there, get above the lights, and you completely lose sight of it. So Yasmani never took his eye off the ball.
Gerardo Parra grounded out to second his first time up. And 3 hits and an RBI last night. He doubled twice. Parra began the ball game tonight just under 300 for the year. He's been aggressive at the plate and is swinging more often than ever before in his career. And it's an approach that has worked very well lately. He's up there hacking. Just like that, slaps it the other way, and that's foul. He had one just like that last night that stayed fair. And Parra has been among the Rockies' most productive hitters lately, hitting better than .350 over his last 15 games with 15 RBIs. He's also doubled 7 times over that span. 1-1. He's been a very good fit here so far.
Shoots it the other way. Tomas drifting near the line, near the corner, and he'll play it off the wall. It's another double for Gerardo Parra. That's his 13th this year. Well, he's going to start to make a living doing that in this ballpark.
Yeah, 3 doubles in the last 2 days, all coming to the opposite field. He just got overmatched with that fastball up in the zone, but got the barrel on it. Chases Tomas all the way back to the barrier at the 347 mark. Yeah, 2-out double, runner in scoring position for the Rockies here.
DJ LeMahieu, the hitter. He struck out his first time up against Ruby. Ruby had retired 5 in a row before the Parra double. Now he's trying to strand him at second. That's unless, of course, Arano gets himself thrown out at third.
Just thinking the same thing.
Walt Weiss was asked about that last night, and he said, yeah, that's not a running situation.
No.
They like the energy, they like the enthusiasm, they like the fire they've gotten from Parra. There are moments, though, where, what are you thinking? And we're referring to last night in the, what was it, the 9th inning? 8th inning, where Parra led off the 8th inning with a double. Yeah. We're down, what, 5 or 6 runs. Got himself thrown out at third for the first out of that inning, trying to steal.
Cost him at least 1 run in that inning, possibly more.
That was not textbook base running.
No.
1-1 on LeMahieu. Here's a high chopper. That's foul.
Well, you're up on all the new sabermetric stats and stuff. This toot bland. You heard of this?
No, what is this?
TOOTBLAN.
That I've never heard of.
It stands for thrown out on the bases like a nincompoop.
Oh, well, that is cutting edge.
And I do think that there's somebody out there in the basement keeping track of those kind of things, and Gerardo Parra, I think, leads the world in those.
The nincompoop category.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a word rarely used. Maybe we can bring it back. You have to keep that in mind for your Brenly Awards at the end of the year.
Well, I'm telling you,
I thought you were kidding.
No.
Toot bland.
Toot bland.
It's a real thing. Dan Hyatt, who's working our stats, just showing me the Toot Bland tracker page. So what is the web address for that if fans want to look it up? It is www.tootbland.tumblr.com. The purpose of this page is to track, highlight, and discuss base running blunders, commonly known as toot blands, which are basically any non-force outs made on the base paths. Nice play by Jake Lamb, spins and throws. Terrific play by Lamb to get LeMahieu. They strand Parra. Well, more on toot blands. Something I never thought I'd say coming up next.
5-3, still no score in the ball game. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Ruby De La Rosa will lead off the 5th inning for the Diamondbacks against lefty Chris Russin. No score here. D-backs have out-hit Colorado 5-3. Wind has picked up a bit now. It's blowing pretty good across the outfield right to left. The wind is essentially blowing out now toward the left field corner. There's that scoreboard way up there here at Coors Field. Just about a mile high, in fact. They have that row of purple seats that are a mile high as Ruby strikes out. 4 strikeout for us, and there's that purple row. That is the 1 mile mark. Brings up Gene Segura, who has struck out and singled 1 for 2. He's now reached base safely in 17 straight games, extending his career high. In the air, shallow right, Cargo coming in. That ball's going to drop in front of him and over the head of LeMahieu. It's another multi-hit game for Gene Segura. He's 2 for 3. That one got him on the hand a little bit, shaking that off. That right hand.
Yeah, it's a chilly night here tonight. This is not the kind of night you want to hit one off the end of the bat or off the handle. That one cued right off the end of the bat, which is a good thing for Gene, because it just got out there and died in front of Carlos Gonzalez. LeMahieu can't get back there quickly enough. That's a knock.
Brandon Drury had singled and flied out to right. Ball 1. And again, if you're just joining us, no David Peralta. Brandon getting the start in right field. Tomas is back in left. Chip Hill told us before the game today that David's troublesome wrist is a little better today. It's better than it was yesterday, but if the pain or the discomfort is still lingering in this series, he'll get checked out when we get back to Phoenix. This one is chopped. Arenado cuts in front of Story, and they get the force on Segura. Trevor Story was poised and ready, and suddenly Arenado came flying in from the hole there, and they get 1.
I don't think the Rockies are going to turn that either way, but Arenado's momentum leading him right into that shovel toss to LeMahieu, so he cut in front of Story and took that ball. Brandon Drury busting it down the line, easily beats the relay.
Well, here's Goldie now, who has struck out twice tonight, both times on, at best, borderline strikes called by John Hirschbeck. Not terrible calls, but they were right on the edge. This is bounced to Arenado. 1 more time for the force at second, and that's the inning. Bottom 5 coming up, no score. The D-backs and the Rockies. Score bottom 5. And hey kids, if you're between the ages of 10 and 16 and you'd like to be part of a D-backs telecast, interview a Diamondback player, and go behind the scenes to see what it takes, and believe me, it takes a lot, to produce a baseball game, then come out Sunday to Chase Field for the Fox Sports Arizona Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions from 11:30 to 1 at the Sandlot. That's right near Baxter's Den during the D-backs and the Giants game. We'll see you then. Cotton candy, nachos, bundled up, chilly here at the ballpark.
Wait,
What? Yeah, what is that?
what?
That? It's D-backs colors. That's I believe that's how Sid Vicious got started.
Yeah.
Ben Paulson grounded out his first time up. I don't know what that means. Overshift is on there, strike one. You never did that growing up in Coshocton, did you, with your hair colored crazy colors?
Kidding me? We weren't allowed to have hair when I grew up.
I bet.
You went every 2 weeks and got a flat top.
You didn't get that, huh?
No.
All right. How about blue?
No, none of that either.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. Roby's got it. Love save and a beauty. They retire Paulson for the second time. Right back at you.
Good reaction by Ruby there. You could clearly see he had a defender straight behind him. That was going to be an out either way, but Ruby takes it, shovels on to Goldie for the easy out.
Ruby right at 60 pitches, 45 strikes. He has looked superb here tonight. Let's see how he works to Walters, who last time up worked the count full and then singled up the middle. This is the 8th place hitter who came into tonight hitting 154 on the year, but Ruby again is behind in the count, 1-0. It's like there's something in the report about Walters. Stay away from him. He's challenged the best they have. He struck out Cargo twice. He's got Story once. Arenado's 0 for 2. But Walters has been the troublesome bat. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Oh, he dropped it. Can't recover.
That one got him in the bare hand.
And it was Walters who hit one to Ahmed in the second inning last night, on which Nick had an error. And that one got away from him as well, again off the bat of Walters.
I think Nick got the bare hand in there just a little bit too quickly right there. You can see it bit him on the end of the finger. He still throws across, but way too late to get Walters at first. He just got a little bit ahead of himself that time.
Another E6 on a ball hit right to Nick Ahmed. And again, it's a 1-out base runner for the pitcher, Chris Russin. And that's exactly what Chip Hale was talking about before the game today, that he was disappointed in the defensive effort last night from his ball club, and said again it creates extra base runners, and when you put guys on base in this ballpark, weird things can happen. Nick Ahmed booting 2 balls in 2 games is weird enough. Close play at first. He's back just in time, says Bill Welke down there.
Yeah, not as sure a sacrifice bunt situation this time around. When Russin was up back in the 3rd inning, it was nobody out with the runner at first, and he was trying to bunt him up. But this time with 1 out in the inning, he might not put down a bunt. He showed it, pulled it back, showed it again.
Jake Lamb about 2 steps in on the grass at 3rd. Goldie holding Walters in the bag at 1st. Joe's bunt pulls back at 95. And it's 1-0. Gets the bunt down. Castillo calls off De La Rosa. They advance Walters, and that's the 2nd out. Charlie Blackmon singled and struck out. He's 1 for 2.
I didn't say anything because I know how much you like to listen to that song. I didn't want to interrupt.
That's my jam, man. 2 outs, Walters at second. Charlie Blackmon last year a much more patient hitter, much more selective than he'd been in previous years. He sees a lot of pitches these days. He will work the count.
I don't know if there is such a thing as a prototypical leadoff hitter in this game anymore, but if there was, it'd probably be Charlie Blackmon.
He's got good pop for the leadoff
He's
spot.
got good pop. He's got great speed. He can bunt. He slaps the ball from foul line to foul line. As you mentioned, he sees a lot of pitches. He'll take his walks. But then again, we just came from Miami not too long ago where their catcher was leading off.
And did really well.
Yeah.
I've never seen you happier. 2-0. Now he's behind on Blackmon. 3 balls and no strikes. And again, you got to limit the base traffic in this ballpark, because it can get ugly in a hurry, and Ruby has been tremendous so far. Trying to pick up the 1-out error by Nick Ahmed. There for a strike. Even pitches inside the strike zone, Charlie Blackmon will take. Didn't swing at nearly the same number of first pitches that he did a couple of years ago. And as a result, last year he had much more consistent contact. He had career highs in runs, hits, doubles, triples, walks. I mean, you get 17 home runs and 43 stolen bases out of your leadoff man, you'll take it every time.
Absolutely.
2 outs. The catcher, Tony Walters, at second. 3 balls and a strike on Charlie Blackmon with Trevor Story on deck. Full count, 3-2.
We're just talking about prototypical leadoff hitters like Joe Mauer, who led off for the Twins tonight for the first time in his career.
Well, he stopped hitting home runs. 3-2 pitch. In the air, right field, Brandon Drury. He's on the warning track, and he runs it down. Ruby De La Rosa gets the outs he needed, and he keeps it scoreless in Colorado.
Castillo set to lead off, followed by Jake Lamb. It was a big night last night for Jake Lamb with 4 RBIs. It was a mutual admiration society on the postgame show last night as Jake Lamb and Archie Bradley, big parts of last night's game, 2 guys that came up through the system together, good friends, roommates when they are in Arizona. Jake was proud of Archie's outing, and Archie pointed out that Jake bailed him out on both of his starts. In San Francisco, Jake had the game-tying homer in the 9th to send it into extras. D-backs won that game, and then last night the 3-run homer that brought the Diamondbacks back. And Archie said, I'm really proud of Jake, what he's been able to do. He's a true pro. I'm proud of the hitter he's become.
Thank you, Jody. Those guys have bright futures with the Diamondbacks, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're kind of connected at the hip. I ran into them at breakfast this morning, the 2 of them over coffee and scrambled eggs. Of course, Archie very shortly thereafter was probably on a plane back to Reno, but they had one last meal together. I'm sure it won't be their last.
Yeah, during the spring, Archie has a house, and Jake is in there. Evan Marzilli's in there. Caleb Fleck is in there, and they have a grand old time. Wellington Castillo leads it off, 2-1. Welly 0 for 2 so far against crafty lefty Chris Russin, who has worked 5 scoreless innings and given up 6 hits. By the way, I asked the truck for a favor because you ducked out between innings. And I know how you hate to miss the mascot race here at Coors Field. I know it's one of your favorites. So we taped it, and after an out or so, we'll show it to you, because I'd hate for you to miss it.
No, it was just a mistake on my part.
I know, I was stunned, actually.
Wasn't aware that it was the mascot race inning.
Temporarily left the booth. I know how you look forward to it. That one is blasted to center. Blackman's on the run. He won't get there, and it rolls all the way to the wall. Beef Wellington pulls into second with his 6th double. Leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, Tomas with a ringing double into that same gap back in the 4th, and now Wellington Castillo a little bit more towards center field, just shot it over the head of Charlie Blackman. And once again, that one big hydroplane skip when the ball hits that wet grass out there, takes it all the way to the wall.
Welly has been killing lefties. That's why Chip Hale really wanted his bat in the lineup tonight. Chris Herman will catch tomorrow. So we'll see how Jake Lamb does. He hit the ball hard his last time up for what should have been a base hit right up the middle, but Trevor Story was in the shift, and he was standing right there like he is right now, in fact. 70 pitches for Russin, 45 strikes. He did not go, says Vic Carapazza down there at third. They like the approach from Jake versus left-hand pitching. They want to see more results. Lamb coming into the ball game tonight, 3 for 19 versus lefties with 8 strikeouts. But he has drawn 5 walks when facing left-hand pitchers. That's the good approach they're talking about. And 2 of those 3 hits against left-handers have been for home runs. But so far against Russin tonight, 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts. Waves at that one. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
As you mentioned, Jake 0 for 2 in the game, grounded to short twice. The first one was a little bit of a dribbler, didn't really hit it hard. The second one he hit right on the button. Now,
sure did.
When Chip is talking about results, I don't think necessarily he's saying Jake Lamb needs to get hits and he needs to get extra base hits. You just need to hit the ball hard. I think that's the result that he's looking for in these at-bats against lefties. Of course, he'd love to see some hits and some extra base hits.
Here's the chopper. LeMahieu will charge from second. Castillo moves up. That's the first out. Here, by the way, before the inning gets out of hand, is the race. Now, this may be the least inspiring mascot race in the history of sports. This is Toothy the Toothbrush. No, pardon me, Toothy the Tooth. Bristles is the toothbrush bringing up the rear. And out in front is a tube of toothpaste known as Fresh. And as you can see, it's a thrilling moment. Bristles makes a late charge here, and Bristles at the wire.
Nice.
Beats out Fresh and Toothy. And then, yeah, there you go. Well, you put the toothpaste on the brush, and then you brush the tooth.
Jeez.
And that's sponsored by a dental outfit up here. So it's a toothbrush, a tooth, and some toothpaste all racing here between innings.
What I would personally like to see is bristles. As we're going to have an intentional walk here to Yasmani Tomas. I'd like to see bristles in the bacteria race down in Miami.
Clean up that whole routine.
Clean up that mess,
Maybe bring some mouthwash down there. Good call. So they'll give Tomas a free pass. And work to Chris Owings. Second walk issued by Russin in the ballgame. I mean, I get the whole thing is sponsored, you know.
Yeah, sure.
It's marketing, that's fine, but I don't know. The kids get excited when Fresh, the tube of toothpaste, is rushing on the field?
Let me just say this: I'm just as excited by bristles as I am by Dinger.
Well, that's a whole nother thing. Don't get me going there. That's the first ever intentional walk to Yasmani Tomas in his young career. So the Diamondbacks have runners on the corners, one out here in a scoreless sixth inning for Chris Owings. Chris singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. And Tomas has been outstanding against left-hand pitchers this year, so he gets the free pass, and they set up the potential double play ball.
Not always easy to do with Chris Owings as the batter slash runner. He's only grounded into one double play so far this season. We know he can get down that first baseline.
Yeah, now with CO healthy and watching him play center field, you really do appreciate just how fast he is. He has got real speed. So here we go. They're on the corners with one out. He blasts it into left center field. Castillo will score. Tomas takes the turn. He'll stop at third, and it's a double for Chris Owings, who makes it 1-0 Diamondbacks.
Take that.
They give Tomas the free pass, and Owings burns him.
Boy, nothing feels better for that on-deck hitter when you watch the guy in front of you pass intentionally to go up there and rip a ball into the gap on the first delivery. That's outstanding.
CO 2 for 3, and the RBI makes it 1-0 D-backs. And now it's second and third. Still only one out for Nick Ahmed. The infield will come in for the Rockies. One and 0. Nick has walked and popped up 0 for 1. Nick 0 for 4 last night. He is 3 for 26 on the road trip. But if he can knock one out there, he can score 2 and make it 3-0. Two and 1.
Tony Walters filling in for Nick Hundley, who's on the disabled list with some oblique issues. One thing about running your backup catcher out there on a regular basis, at some point you figure out why he's the backup. Walters really boxing some balls back there behind home plate today, rattling around the glove, falling down near the umpire's feet.
Walters came up as a middle infielder in the Indians organization and was only converted to a catcher 3 years ago. Cleveland finally gave up on him, waived him just before spring training. The Rockies picked him up, and he had a sensational spring. He hit about 400 and won the backup job. But he has spent most of his baseball life as an infielder. Two and 2 on Nick Ahmed. Base hit. Tomas will score. Matt Williams going to stop Owings at third base. It's an RBI single for Ahmed and a 2-0 Diamondback lead. Timely hits.
Rockies with that infield drawn in, absolutely no range for that right side. Nick just drives it right through to Carlos in right field. This time Matt Williams throws up the stop sign.
So back-to-back RBI singles. Owings and Ahmed make it 2-0 D-backs. Steve Foster, the pitching coach. Bullpen will get busy for the Rockies. D-backs have now out-hit Colorado 9-3. Gonzalez Herman will start warming up amid the forest of the Colorado bullpen.
Tonight has been the bottom of the Diamondbacks order coming through in a big way. Yasmani Tomas, 2 singles and an intentional walk. He scored. Chris Owings rather, 2 singles and RBI, or single and a double and an RBI. And Nick Ahmed with a walk and an RBI single right now.
And now here's Ruby with Owings at third and Ahmed at first, still only 1 out. 4 of the 5 to come to the plate for the Diamondbacks in this inning have reached base, and 2 have scored.
Well, this would appear on the surface to be an ideal situation for that safety squeeze / sacrifice bunt by Ruby De La Rosa. He's got great speed on the bases with Ahmed at first and Chris Owings at third. CO can read that bunt and sneak down that line and score. Ruby get himself a cheap RBI.
Squares to bunt. Sounded like it hit the plate. Arenado even with a bag at third. Paulson holding Ahmed on the base at first. Hits it down first base side. Here comes CO. He scores. Nice. Beautifully executed by the Diamondbacks, and they have a 3-0 lead.
Boy, that speed at third base makes all the difference in the world. Chris Owings got a great jump and was just burning down that third baseline. Saw that ball on the ground safely to the right side. Paulson can only turn around and get the easy out at first base. Nicely done.
Three straight RBIs for the Diamondbacks, and now the top of the order rolls around with Ahmed at second and 2 down. Here's Gene Segura, who's 2 for 3. Is rolled the other way and it sneaks through. Here comes Ahmed. He will score. 4-0 Diamondbacks. A 3-hit night for Segura, driving the bus.
That opposite field approach has served the Diamondbacks well in this inning. He finds that small gap in the right side of the infield, and with 2 outs, Nick's going to come around and score easily.
A 4-run 6th for Arizona. They've got 10 hits now, and that's going to do it for Chris Russ. And here comes Walt Weiss. Pitching change for the Rockies. D-backs lead at 4-0. Back after this. Run sixth for the Diamondbacks here at Coors. They lead at 4-0, and fans, may the force be with the D-backs as they take on the Giants at Star Wars night coming up on Saturday. And if you arrive early to Chase Field, you'll get the D-backs Star Wars soft style t-shirt. It's courtesy of Cox Communications. Visit dbacks.com. Remember, Saturday, May 14th, Star Wars night at Chase Field. That'll be Patrick Corbin and Jake Peavy. New pitcher for the Rockies. It's the right-hander Gonzalez Herman, called up from AAA Albuquerque last month. He is not allowed a run in 5 straight appearances, a 2.08 ERA.
133 opponent's batting average. Comes in here with 2 outs in the inning, and Gene Segura running at first base. He'll face the number 2 hitter, Brandon Drury.
Brandon singled in the first. He is 1 for 3. D-backs tonight looking for what would be their 5th consecutive win, Bob, and one of the big reasons for this winning streak now, crooked numbers. And go back to the 11th inning in Atlanta. They got 2 runs in that 11th. Last night, a 5-run 5th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 9th, and now 4 in the 6th here tonight. That line has been moving. Segura's got 3 hits. Tomas, a single, a double, a walk. Owings has 2 hits. Ahmed has an RBI single. 1-1 on Brandon Drury. Missed inside, 2 balls and a strike. All of this in support of Ruby De La Rosa, who so far has pitched 5 scoreless innings. He's given up only 3 hits and struck out 5. Dodgers right now leading the Mets 2-1 at Dodger Stadium. That game is in the 2nd inning. No score in San Francisco. The Blue Jays and the Giants just underway. And the Diamondbacks began play tonight only 1 game behind the Giants and the Dodgers for the National League West lead. Giants coming in Thursday, first of 4. And fans, get your tickets now at dbacks.com. Cueto and Greinke Thursday night. And then Friday, Shelby Miller and Jeff Samardzija. Saturday, Star Wars night. Ruby De La Rosa, who's been brilliant so far here tonight, will be back on the mound Sunday against Matt Cain.
Diamondbacks missed Jeff Samardzija in San Francisco when they swept that 4-game series earlier this season. This will be their first look at him in a Giants uniform.
That means we'll miss Madison Bumgarner in that series.
Doggone it.
All right, then.
I did.
2-2 on Brandon Drury. Walters sets up down and away. And Segura takes off. A good throw. Got him. So the inning ends, but the Diamondbacks put up 4. Bottom 6 coming up. They lead the Rockies 4-0. field. Ruby De La Rosa staked to a 4-0 lead. It's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, and Bob, Ruby has looked as confident as ever out there tonight.
This is about as confident as I've ever seen a pitcher take the mound in this ballpark. He wasn't worried about whether his slider was going to break or not, or whether he was going to lose any velocity on his pitches. He's just attacking this Rockies lineup with everything he has.
So far, he's given up only 3 hits. He's got 5 strikeouts. Now he's got the sharp end of the Rockies order coming up here. Trevor Story, Carlos Gonzalez, and Nolan Arenado, 2, 3, and 4 in the Rockies' 6th. Story so far 0 for 2. Ruby struck him out his first time up.
The key for Ruby is to maintain that same aggressive attitude that he had when it was a scoreless tie. Spotted to a 4-run lead here with that big top half of the 6th. Go right after him again, just like you have been all night.
Well, this is a good start. He's ahead of Story 0-2. I still think those relief appearances seem to have helped reset his compass a bit.
It's not hard to look at the stat sheet and the game logs and see the turning point. Those 2 appearances he made out of the bullpen when he just came in like a closer, firing bullets.
This is lifted out towards Yasmani Tomas. Yasmani's got room backing up on the warning track, and he's got it for the first out. That stayed in the yard. There's Cargo, who has struck out twice.
Hey, remember I said earlier that Trevor Story seems to be a breaking ball strike hitter. 0-2 count, he gets a breaking ball and narrowly misses hitting one out of here. That's not a bad pitch at the knees near the outside corner, but for whatever reason, his swing really lends itself to off-speed pitches in the zone.
So far tonight, Cargo and Arenado 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Coming into tonight, Ruby De La Rosa in his career against Gonzalez and Arenado. Those 2 had been 7 for 16 against him with 3 home runs. But so far tonight, a big 0 for. Into the shift. Segura's got to plant, make a long throw, and they got him. It was under a diving Jake Lamb. Gene Segura, really from right center field, threw him out. And a nice play by the Diamondback defense there. Just your normal routine 4-3 put out.
From right center field.
Exactly.
That's that shortstop arm again coming into play for Gene Segura. A lot of second basemen wouldn't make this play. They might get to the ball, but they wouldn't be able to get enough on the throw to get Carlos Gonzalez at first base.
2 down. Here's Arenado, who has popped up and flied out 0 for 2. 1 for 7 in the series with a single. Looking for the shutdown inning. 3 up, 3 down with that 4-0 lead. There's a strike 0-1. Still throwing hard at 96. Ruby has been consistently 95 to 97 tonight with that power fastball. Oh, he wanted it inside. He left it out over the plate, but they hit it right to Ahmed. And Ruby De La Rosa gives you the shutdown 1-2-3 inning. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks. Coors Field, the D-backs lead the Rockies 4-0. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool plays of the game. It's the lower portions, Bob, of the Diamondback order that have got the job done here tonight.
Yeah, RBIs from the 7, 8, 9, and 1 spots, but it all started with that Wellington Castillo ringing double into the gap, and then everybody got involved. Perfectly executed safety squeeze by Ruby De La Rosa, and then Gene Segura puts the icing on the cake with his RBI base hit to right field.
4-run sixth for the Diamondbacks, and Brandon Drury, who was up there against Gonzalez Herman when Segura was caught stealing to end the inning, will lead off the 7th. Yes, he went, says Bill Welty. It's 0-1. Drury 1 for 3, a single in the first. He has started all 8 games on this road trip. He's got 9 hits. By the way, I should point out that our friend made a very, I will note, a very brief visit and quickly ducked out between innings. Dinger, the front-running mascot. And once again, now that the game has resumed, he's nowhere to be found. Oh, and 2. I think during the 7th inning, in his deal, that is people to go, this is it. So he's out there, and then as soon as the inning was about to start, it's Dinger out, and he drops the mic. And he bails. Looking for a handout there, apparently. 1 and 2.
I'm sure Dinger has his own dressing room here at Coors Field.
I tell you what, even in the 9th inning last night, when the Rockies made some noise and they got a run, you couldn't find the guy anywhere. He was halfway down the highway going home. Front runner. He's got his own parking space here. Have you seen that?
He's got his own vehicle, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. You know how rock stars have their tour buses. He's got a Dinger van. Brandon Drury reaches down, knocks that one in the hole. Arenado charges and throws him out. Here's Goldie now. Goldie 0 for 3 has struck out twice. So Goldie has reached base safely in 42 straight games against the Rockies, but so far nothing tonight. That one is blasted way back and gone. Oh
man.
Boy, did he put a charge in that one. That's number 7 for Goldie, and it's 5-0. Wow.
Oh my.
That was a Rocky Mountain high. How about that smile? That's got to feel good for Paul.
Get that out there on top of a Todd Heltenberger. Man, that ball almost cleared the bleachers out there in left field.
Oh boy.
Gerardo Parra didn't even blink. Never moved an inch.
That made Jake Lamb's home run last night look like a bunt single.
Wow.
106 miles an hour off the bat. There's Beef Wellington, doubled and scored his last time up. We are told that was only 431 feet.
Oh, okay. He popped it up.
Broken bat, look out. The bat head comes out to third at Arenado. And he's holding some kindling now. That was above the scoreboard out there in left field. And that scoreboard is literally a mile high.
Made that Goldie sound we haven't heard enough of lately. A couple times last night we heard it, but not quite as loud as that one.
Wow, that was a blow.
Oh,
that Rockies logo is dead even with this row of purple seats that goes across the outfield here. So the logo is a mile high. It was up that high. His 7th of the year, and he's now reached base safely in 43 straight against the Rockies. 1-1 on Wellington Castillo. 1-2. There's the streak, the most of any opponent. Two and two on Beef Wellington. 5-0 Diamondbacks. Looking for their 5th straight win. They'd move within 1 game of 500. Mets have come back. They have tied the Dodgers in LA 2-2. The Blue Jays lead at San Francisco 1-0. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. First strikeout for Herman. One more look at the Goldie Titanic Jumbo Jack. That sound is amazing, isn't it?
It's so crisp. I'd be smiling too.
Here's the guy who hit a long one last night, Jake Lamb. Jake so far tonight 0 for 3. He's grounded out 3 times. One of them should have been a base hit up the middle that he hit into the shift. And the shift is on again for the Rockies. There's a strike. Oh, DJ LeMahieu, what a stop. And again, they take a base hit away from Jake Lamb. He should be 2 for 4. But Goldie hits his 7th. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks.
In the last couple innings, they lead the Rockies 5-0 as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Hey fans, beginning on May 12th, Diamondbacks baseball will be televised in Spanish on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. Presented by your Valley Honda dealers and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. To find the channel listing and the 25-game schedule, visit foxsportsarizona.com.
Look at Dinger, just, I mean, on top of our dugout. Now this is in his deal. They just did the 7th inning stretch, so he's contractually obligated to appear. And you'll note, down 5-0, that he'll probably bail right now.
Well, you know, he went to the dugout of the team that's leading in the ball game, so
he's a front runner.
True to form.
And he's getting ready to make his exit. Took a couple of pictures just to prove he was there. Gerardo Parra leads off the home half of the 7th against Ruby De La Rosa, who is working on a 3-hit shutout. Parra doubled his last time up, 1 for 2. And how about this? The great Dan Hyatt, working stats tonight, has been punching away with a calculator over there. And Ruby De La Rosa in this ballpark, his career ERA, as we adjusted is now 2.52 at Coors Field, which, as Parra shoots another one the other way, fouled. So Ruby's career ERA at Coors Field is 2.52. That is the 6th best all time among pitchers with at least 25 innings in this ballpark.
There's a lot, and I mean a lot, of really good pitchers that have numbers that are twice or 3 or 4 times that.
That is a remarkable number. Yes, you win. Gerardo always not happy with John Hirschbeck back there. Oh, he just said 2 bad words. 6 strikeouts for Ruby, who set down 6 in a row. Ooh, he might have a case. Hirschbeck not going to appeal. He says you win.
That's the same argument you get from all hitters when they get called out on a check swing on strike 3. Why don't you get some help?
It's a fair point. DJ LeMahieu 0 for 2. Struck out, grounded out. Bounces one to Goldie. Backhand stop. Ruby's there. 2 up, 2 down. Ruby right now at 82 pitches, with 2 outs in the 7th.
I think a little bit of Zach Greinke has rubbed off on Ruby De La Rosa. There
How
were
so?
times that he didn't get over quickly to cover the bag at first last year. He beat DJ LeMahieu over there by about 8 steps that time.
82 pitches, 60 strikes through 6 2/3. He's given up only 3 hits. Paulson 0 for 2. Just 2 for his last 21 at the plate. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. They overload the right-hand side. There's a strike on 1. A little roller into the shift. Segura again from the outfield grass. Ruby De La Rosa has retired 8 straight. He is through 7. He leads at 5-0. Has a 3-hit shutout as the Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 5-0. And fans, the Arizona Diamondbacks are proud to offer ticket discounts to military and first responders. It's presented by Geico. And remember, all active, reserve, or retired military personnel and fire or police personnel can enjoy discounts all season long, including 50% off on Sundays. So we encourage you to take advantage of this offer. You can get your tickets at dbacks.com/military. Some changes for the Rockies as we start the 8th inning. The new pitcher is the right-hander Christian Bergman, a 6.32 ERA in 7 appearances. He's made 6 relief appearances in 1 start this year. And the new first baseman for the Rockies is Mark Reynolds. He'll replace Ben Paulson over there.
at first base. Paulson made the last out, so Reynolds will bat 9th. Pitcher spot now 7th in the Rockies order. Yasmani Tomas back from that neck injury that cost him 4 games. So lead it off. Tomas has singled, doubled. He was walked intentionally. He scored a run. Ruby De La Rosa working on some history here. 0-1 on Yasmani Tomas. 37 times in this ballpark before tonight as an Arizona starting pitcher lasted 7 full innings. 37 times ever. No one had ever pitched 7 scoreless innings until Ruby tonight.
Wow.
So this is the first time in Diamondback history that a starting pitcher has thrown 7 shutout innings at Coors Field. The great Dan Hyatt coming up with that one. Tomas, boy, welcome back. He knocks it into center field, his 3rd hit tonight. A leadoff single against Christian Bergman.
Now, we used to always joke that if you throw a shutout at Coors Field, you're immediately the front runner for the National League Cy Young Award.
I'm down with that.
Hey, Ruby making a case here tonight.
The only question is, his pitch count is in pretty good shape. Will he get to finish? He's 6 outs away from a 3-hit shutout. Good night for CO. Pair of singles and RBI. He scored a run. He's 2 for 3. This is lifted in the air to Cargo and right. 1 away. So Nick Ahmed will step up now, and Ruby De La Rosa hits behind him.
Yeah, we saw him taking his jacket off over there in the dugout. Looks like he's going to take the at bat. Why not? He's been very economical with his pitches tonight. It's not like the Rockies have really made a lot of loud outs against Ruby.
Nick had an RBI single his last time up. He's also walked. He's 1 for 2. Tell you what, Diamondbacks get a confident Ruby De La Rosa, they can go a long way this year. That's a big, big check mark in their favor.
Especially if those 3 guys at the top of the rotation continue to move in the right direction the way they have in their recent starts.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a lot about depth in a lineup. You know, when you add a hitter to the lineup, suddenly you go more than just 4 or 5 spots. You go all the way down to the 7 or 8 spot in the lineup. Same thing is true for the rotation. If you're number 4 guys putting up numbers like this at Coors Field, you have to feel pretty good about your rotation.
One and 2 on Ahmed. Bullpen is quiet. You see all the relievers. They're just standing watching through that new fence out there. No one throwing. Missed inside. 2 and 2. All spectators out there bundled up on a chilly night at Coors Field. Chopped foul. Diamondbacks have out hit the Rockies tonight, 12-3. They got 4 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th. Dave Magadan, the hitting coach, has to be liking what he's seen. Full count, 3 and 2. Pitcher Ruby De La Rosa on deck. No one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Tomas takes off, ball 4.
Two walks in the ball game tonight for Nick Ahmed, giving him 10 on the season into double digits.
So the Diamondbacks with Ruby up there have 2 on and 1 out. Reynolds will creep in from first. Arenado near the bag at third. Ruby last time up executed a beautiful sacrifice, a safety squeeze to drive in a run. Part of that 4-run Diamondback 6th. They tacked on 1 more in the 7th on the Goldie homer, his 7th of the year. Squares to bunt again, can't get it down. 1-1.
One thing to keep an eye on here, the second baseman DJ LeMahieu on that last play as Mark Reynolds was charging from first base. LeMahieu was sneaking in behind the runner at first. I think they were going to try a pickoff attempt down there. Fortunately, Ruby just fouled that ball out of play. No chance to pick off the runner at first.
Gets the bunt down. They got 1 play. Bourbon gets the out at first. The runners move up. So it'll be second and third, 2 down for Gene Segura, who's 3 for 4 tonight. Segura 3 singles and an RBI.
Ruby really doing it all tonight. A couple of sac bunts, including 1 for an RBI on that safety squeeze. Made some nice defensive plays, hustling over to cover the bag at first, and he has absolutely been dealing on the mound.
2 on and 2 out for Segura. Gene having a big series. He doubled and homered last night. 3 singles tonight and 4 at bats. He's hit safely in 8 straight. Oh, and 2. Rockies in the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll have Tony Walters, Mark Reynolds, and Charlie Blackmon 8, 9, and 1. Late time granted by John Hirschbeck down there.
I think it was the catcher Walters that called for timeout.
Yep. Wants to run through the signs again.
Notice that chest protector that Tony Walters is wearing doesn't have the usual ribbing that you see on a chest protector. It just has a couple of flat surfaces there. Always coming up with something new.
And of course, Christian Bergman just back from his Civil War reenactment. Looks like Jeb Stewart or somebody out there. Another 0-2 to Gene Segura. Segura tonight has extended his major league lead. He's got 6 games this year of at least 3 hits. And he now has 49 hits on the year. He's tied with Daniel Murphy for the major league lead. He's now up to 353 on the year. A lot of 0-2 pitches for Bergman. 1 more coming up. Manny Tomas is the runner at third. Nick Ahmed at second. 2 outs. Segura's putting on a clinic of 2-strike hitting. Look, he's laughing at himself up there.
Immediately fell behind 0-2, and he's now seen 7 pitches.
Well, what do you want to do now? I ain't gonna throw nothing else.
Well, the sequence started with a slider, actually 2 sliders to jump ahead 0-2, and then a fastball, another slider, and now 3 fastballs in a row.
7 pitches, all foul balls. Arenado. So the Diamondbacks strand 2. Ruby De La Rosa coming back out, working on a 3-hit shutout. Bottom of the 8th inning, Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 5-0. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Series finale here tomorrow afternoon. Don't forget, fans, a day game tomorrow on Getaway Day here. Robbie Ray, the left-hander, goes for the Diamondbacks against righty Chad Bettis, who's been tough on the Arizona Diamondbacks so far this year. So the series finale tomorrow afternoon. Then it's finally back home after this long 9-game road trip for 4 against the Giants. Greinke and Cueto Thursday. dbacks.com/tickets. Ruby De La Rosa has retired the last 8 Rockies he has faced. He is working on a 3-hit shutout as Tony Walters leads off the Colorado 8th inning. Ruby so far, a Blackman single in the first, a Walters single in the third, and a Parra double in the fourth. And he has not walked a batter. He has struck out 6. And he's sitting right now at 84 pitches. Ruby's high for the season is 96. That came in his last start. That was last week at Marlins Park in Miami. His last 3 starts against the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Marlins, the pitch count has been 91, 94, and 96. He's at 85 right now.
Well, most pitchers would tell you this is an ideal night to pitch other than the ballpark we're in, but very cool evening. Probably hasn't really expended as much energy as he might somewhere warmer. 46 degrees it says out on the big board.
Wind isn't too bad here. It was a lot windier last night, but it's still blowing out a bit across the outfield right to left. And he's behind on Walters, who's been a pain in the neck tonight. He's reached on a single and an error. There's a strike, 2-1. Reynolds, after the double switch, is up next. He's in the 9-hole. 3-1.
A couple things you watch for at this point of a ball game. Number one, you check the velocity. Is he still throwing as hard as he was earlier in the game? It's only natural that you lose a little bit as you get deeper into the ball game and that pitch count gets up there. But even more importantly, you watch the mechanics.
3-1. He walked the leadoff man. And the bullpen is quiet for the Diamondbacks. That may get some guys throwing. They're all spectating right now. Everybody bundled up out there on a chilly night. And we'll see how big a leash Ruby will get. Daniel Hudson will start warming up. That's the first walk issued tonight by Ruby De La Rosa. Mark Reynolds first at bat tonight. Reynolds, 326. He's got 2 homers. Got the start at first base last night, went 1 for 5. He singled and struck out twice. Walters, the 8th place hitter, on base for the 3rd time tonight. Big hole on the right-hand side. Segura near the bag at second. 0-1. Ruby, who's been throwing strikes all night long, having problems finding the strike zone to start the 8th. Behind 2-0. Late swing by Reynolds, 2-1 now. Remember what Chip Hale told us before the ball game today. When you create extra base runners in this ballpark, weird things start happening. So he's not going to let that happen here if Ruby loses Reynolds. He's got Hudson warming up, 2-1. Broken bat, it's by Goldie, a base hit. Walters will head for third, he'll get there. Rockies have runners in the corners with no outs. A broken bat single sneaks through.
Seeing eye base hit that time. Goldie holding on Walters over there at first base. Mark Reynolds breaks his bat, just hits a dribbler to Goldie's right. Can't quite get over there quickly enough.
No mound visit here. Wellington Castillo will slow things down a bit. And here comes Mike Butcher on his birthday today. Mike is 51, the Diamondback pitching coach. Ruby De La Rosa trying to give him a present here if he can hang in. Now you've got the top of the order coming up. Blackman, Story, Gonzalez.
Ah, the joys of managing at Coors Field. Yeah, most ballparks with a fully loaded, healthy, ready-to-go bullpen and a starting pitcher that gets you into the 8th inning, you're feeling pretty good about a 5-0 lead, but we've seen them disappear quickly in this ballpark.
Blackman a single in the first, 1 for 3. Walters, the runner at third, down there with Coach Stu Cole. And Mark Reynolds is the runner at first with Eric Young Sr. all bundled up. Ewy's got the gloves and the sleeves and the whole thing. He's got about 17 batting gloves back there as well he's holding for everybody. So here we go. Blackman the hitter. That one gets behind Castillo. Here comes Walters, and he is in there. First run for the Rockies. It's 5-1. Ruby airmailed that one. And if you're looking for bad signs, that's another one.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen him miss his spot that badly all night long. That ball was so high that Wellington could only get leather on it, slow it down on its trip to the backstop.
Daniel Hudson continuing to throw, and that's going to be it. Here comes Chip Hale. Ruby De La Rosa was sensational tonight, but he hit a few bumps to open up the 8th. He walked Walters, a single by Reynolds, and a wild pitch to run in. But he was just outstanding. And now it's up to the bullpen to try and finish this thing off. Getting all the umpires here huddling up in front of the mound with Chip Hale. I'm not sure what this is about. Bob, what's going on here?
When did Mike Butcher go to the mound? Was it for Charlie Blackmon's at bat? You can't make 2 trips to the mound to the same hitter.
Yeah, I think that's what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. John Hirschbeck, the plate umpire, is the crew chief, the gentleman with his back to the camera. And now he's going to give an explanation to Chip. And they're explaining what's going on to Walt Weiss as well in the Rockies dugout. Bill Melke's over there with the Colorado skipper. So Ruby will have to finish up here, at least with Blackmon. A count of 1-0. A run is in. Reynolds at second. There's a strike, 1-1.
Rule 806 subsection C, a manager or coach is prohibited from making a second visit to the mound while the same batter is at bat.
They really did cut Chip off at the pass there when he tried to get out to the mound. This is bounced to second for Segura. Reynolds will move up, and that's the first down. And now here comes Chip Hale to go get Ruby. So Daniel Hudson comes in. Ruby De La Rosa leaves in the 8th. Back after this.
But he's got nothing to be ashamed of tonight. He was outstanding. Hey, fans, the D-backs welcome the Yankees back to Chase Field next week. The 3-game series is May 16th, 17th, and 18th. You can secure seats now at dbacks.com.
Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. It's Daniel Hudson, the right-hander, who worked the 8th inning in both of the first 2 wins in Atlanta. He last worked Saturday at Turner Field. 14 appearances. He's given up only 1 run on 5 hits. 10 strikeouts in 14 2/3. And he's got some work to do here with 1 out and Reynolds at 3rd. Trevor Story coming up. Story is 0 for 3. Daniel Hudson this year has not allowed a single base hit against a right-hand hitter. 0 for 25. Righties 0 for 25 against Huddy this year. He has walked 2 and hit 1. But he has not given up a base hit so far to a right-hand hitter as Trevor Story steps in. Ball 1. One out, Reynolds at 3rd, a run in for the Rockies. Two and 0. Story's been a tough out, even though he's hitless tonight. 7 games against the Diamondbacks this year. 9 extra base hits, including 5 homers. He's knocked in 15 runs. Two and 1.
Story's got a little alfalfa going there. Some of that hair trying to escape from the helmet.
They come inside, tie him up. It's headed for the right field corner. And it's out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's got I think he's got a mohawk under that thing. He's got some kind of weird haircut. I'm told that the hairstyle is referred to as the brohawk.
Brohawk, okay.
Bro. And then there are those who are follically challenged.
It's the no hawk.
2 and 2 on Trevor Story. Missed inside at 95. It's a full count. Cargo on deck. Arenado coming up behind him. Three and 2. Popped him up. Playable. Castillo and Goldie. Wellington's got it. A big second out there for Daniel Hudson. He retires Story. It was 0 for 4. Here comes Cargo. Cargo 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded out, all against Ruby De La Rosa. Cargo's got some head-banging walk-up
Rocking it, Kid Rock.
Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Jake Lamb, the 3rd baseman, right next to second base on DJ Rayburn. Ground ball right by EY Senior. It's 0-1. Cargo's been doing that a lot lately. He is hitting fewer fly balls than ever before in his career right now. And at the same time, the number of ground balls he's hitting has never been higher. It's up to 52%. So that is not a recipe for success for a left-hand hitter in this ballpark. He's not getting the ball up in the air the way he usually does. .96 from Huddy misses. It's a ball and a strike. And we mentioned the slow stretch here for Gonzalez. Last 20 games, he's got just 2 RBIs. He's up there with Reynolds at third and 2 outs. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Diamondbacks in the ninth. They'll have Drury, Goldie, Castillo, 2, 3, and 4.
Good changeup from Daniel Hudson after rushing that fastball up there in the upper 90s. Cargo tries to get the bat started just a little bit earlier and way out in front of the straight changeup.
I'm going to try to get him to chase again here.
Blow him away right here. Fastball in hard.
Broken bat. Oh, just missed. The shift was on. And Jake Lamb is over there. As they once again adjust that shift, not only batter to batter, but count to count. It stays 1-2. Still, Jake had a long way to go to get to that one. It's interesting what they've done here. Usually it's Nick Ahmed over there, but Ahmed is now where the third baseman normally is for the Diamondbacks, but you've got that runner over there at third. And there's Nick on the second base side of the bag. Two and two.
Let's find out the reason for that. I'm just speculating, but Cargo rarely hits the ball on the ground to the left side, so maybe you want to put your players with the best range on the pull side of the field, which is why Nick is over there at the second base position instead of Jake Lamb. But we'll double check that with Dave McKay and Chip Hale after the ball game.
Makes a lot of sense. Here's another ground ball from Cargo. Goldie's there. Hudson covers, and they strand Reynolds at third. But the Rockies get one. Applause, applause from Ruby. D-backs lead at 5-1. Field. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 5-1. Our Gila River game summary. Goldie launched one a mile in the air out for a home run, but the story here is Ruby De La Rosa. 7 1/3 innings of 4-hit ball. He gave up just 1 run, walked 1, struck out 6, 96 pitches, 67 strikes. He was tremendous.
All tremendous numbers anywhere, but especially against this lineup in this ballpark. Just a tremendous outing for Ruby.
Christian Bergman back out there for the Rockies. Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt, and Wellington Castillo. will step up in the ninth. 2, 3, and 4. Brandon so far 1 for 4, single back in the first. Ball 1. Another case tonight of a Rockies starting pitcher being done in part by his own ballpark. Well, this wasn't your typical Coors Field game per se. It's not like balls were flying out of here on rocket ships, but Chris Russin charged for 4 runs on 10 hits in 5 2/3, walked 2. And the Rockies just came back from a 10-game NL West road trip that started at Chase Field when they swept the Diamondbacks, and they were feeling pretty good about themselves coming in here. They went 6 and 4 on the trip. Drury knocks a base hit into center, his second hit tonight. They went 6 and 4 on that trip. They were feeling good. And they come into their home park and it's a problem.
Well, we know what that feels like.
That's true.
Diamondbacks are still trying to figure out a way to make Chase Field a home ballpark to their advantage.
Boy, if you didn't see Goldie's homers last time up, we'll show it to you again in just a minute. Oh, we'll do it right now. Watch this go. Oh. It was as high as the scoreboard, a mile high. It went 431. Oh, Trevor Story, top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. He takes a base hit away from Goldie. That's in the gap.
Yep. That ball rolls all the way to the wall if he doesn't make that play right there.
So a hang with him for Goldie. Drury at first, 1 out now for Castillo. Wellington doubled and scored in the 6th. He's 1 for 4. You know, Story, for all the home runs and all the stuff, he played a pretty decent shortstop from what we've seen. It's not like he's this big home run hitter out there trying to play shortstop. He's done all right. Well, Chip Hale told us before the game he really wanted Castillo's bat in there tonight against the lefty Russin. And he had that double in the 6th inning. But they want to be very careful to get Wellington more consistent off days and rest than they did last year, so he's able to keep swinging the bat as well as he's been. And so Herman will start tomorrow afternoon. Wellington rolls one into right. Drury will stop at second. So Beef Wellington 2 for 5. Herman will catch Ravi Ray here tomorrow in getaway day. And it's funny because there was so much talk, Bob, the last few starts about Ruby and Chris Herman. Well, Herman had helped Ruby and they worked really well together. Well, he had Castillo back there tonight. He pitched the game of his life.
He looked tremendous.
So much for the whole personal catcher thing.
Yeah, and you know, Tom Candiotti says it all the time over on the radio side. Sometimes you have to be your own pitching coach. You have to know what makes you tick and when things are starting to go sideways and how to get back on track again. And I think we saw a perfect example of that tonight. I don't think it matters who was behind the plate for Ruby tonight.
Yeah. Here's Jake Lamb, who's had a tough night. He's 0 for 4. He's grounded out 4 times, but he has twice hit balls hard right into an overshift, which is on again right now for the Rockies. So Jake, by all rights, should be 2 for 4. The shift took 2 base hits away from him. And there you see Story right behind second base. LeMahieu there. Reynolds on the line. He lifts it the other way. Arnold Parra's out there in left. 2 down. Bullpen is busy for the Diamondbacks.
It's Evan Marshall.
That is Evan Marshall.
Yeah, Brad Ziegler throwing alongside.
Evan Marshall just called up today from AAA Reno. Archie Bradley was sent down after his terrific outing last night. 2 on, 2 out now for Tomas, who has reached base all 4 times he's been up there. 3 hits and an intentional walk. He scored a run.
2 singles and a double in his first game back from that stiff neck. He's got Drury at second and Castillo at first. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Yasmani up to 305 on the year with his 3-for-3 night. His first game since Thursday in Miami. Lays off that one, a ball and a strike. Rockies in the bottom of the ninth will have Arenado, Parra, and LeMahieu. 4, 5, and 6 due up. Rockies tonight with just 4 hits. 1-1 to Tomas. Along the right field line, Cargo on a dead run near the seats, and it's in that corner. It's in the seats, out of play. Hang on there.
Cargo's a really good right fielder, strong throwing arm, covers a lot of ground, but he's no Larry Walker. Larry Walker might be one of the best right fielders I ever saw.
He doesn't get enough Hall of Fame consideration.
Oh, no. You know, unfairly, because he played in this ballpark and they penalize players for their offensive numbers here at Coors Field. They didn't penalize any of the Yankees for hitting in that short porch and right.
1-2. What made Larry Walker such a great outfielder?
Oh, he was just such an instinctive player. I mean, we've seen Cargo a couple times in this series on long fly balls to right field try to decoy, you know, that he was going to catch the ball on the warning track and then turn around and play a possible carom off the fence. Larry Walker invented that move in this ballpark. I know Carl Yastrzemski was extremely good at it playing in Fenway in left field, but Larry Walker in right field would throw guys out at second base on balls off that out-of-town scoreboard.
2-2.
He just always seemed to know the right thing to do. If a guy hit one over his head and he was pretty sure it was going to hit the scoreboard, he might just stand there like it's a home run. I'm not even going to move. And at the last instant, he would whip around, play the carom off the wall, and throw the guy out at second base.
Carl Furillo was legendary for doing that at Ebbets Field, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
He just had a real instinct and a real knack for knowing when to go back to the wall and try to make the play and when to try to decoy the hitter runner.
Yasmani strikes out. Bergman strands 2. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Diamondbacks holding a 5-1 lead.
D-backs trying to be victorious for the 5th game in a row and take the first 2 in this 3-game set at Coors Field. And on the mound in the 9th inning, Brad Ziegler, career appearance number 550. His 15th of the season, a 2.51 ERA. A last word closing out Sunday's extra inning win at Turner Field. And he's got his work cut out for him as Nolan Arenado leads off the Colorado 9th. Diamondbacks have out hit the Rockies 14-4. They lead at 5-1. Arenado 0 for 3. D-backs shift with 3 infielders on the left side. Segura, the second baseman, just about behind the second base bag for Arenado. That one is hit hard right to Tomas. 1 down. And by the way, Bob, I think we should point out in the interest of fairness that Dinger, the front-running mascot, bailed again. This guy's a total fraud. He's got his own parking space, and that's a live shot. He's gone. Now, earlier today, we actually got a photo just to prove that the Dinger van actually does exist. That's where he's got his own parking spot. It might be him right there. Dinger, the front-running mascot. I mean, they're not winning here. It's 5-1 in the 9th, and Dinger bailed again. Gerardo Parra doubled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3.
Shameful.
I mean, he comes out for his contractually obligated 7th inning stretch appearance, then he's gone. That's the Dinger van. It was here earlier today. That's what he drives around in. He's got his own space, but now, you know, they need a rally. They're down 4 9th inning. You can't find the guy.
Which is good. Let's keep him caged.
That was your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game. Gonna have to go with that again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Just typical Dinger. Boy, Parr's trying to get a double down that left field line almost every time he's up. Little 2-strike swing there, and it's 0-2. LeMahieu on deck. Ruby De La Rosa was sensational tonight. Diamondback bullpen trying to get the win for him. 7 1/3. He gave up just 1 run on 4 hits and had 6 strikeouts. 0-2. There's a chopper on the short hop for Lamb. Two down. DJ LeMahieu, last man standing. He's 0 for 3. Two outs on 7 pitches for Brad. Also like to point out, BB, that once again the Governor Greg Schulte, the foremost weather expert anywhere, even when the skies were dark and it was pouring rain, cloudy, he insisted we would have no delays tonight. And once again the Governor was on it. Brandon Drury in right field runs it down, and the Diamondbacks take it 5-1. They have won 5 in a row. They're only a game under 500, and they go for the sweep here at Coors Field tomorrow afternoon with Robbie Ray on the mound against Chad Bettis.
A lot of good things offensively in this ball game tonight, but this was the Ruby De La Rosa show here tonight, and the bullpen came in to put some zeros on the board to finish it out. What a great ball game.
So Ruby De La Rosa gets his 4th win of the year, and the Diamondbacks improved to 17-18. They've won 5 straight. Diamondback Live postgame show is coming up from Colorado. Slap hands, D-backs fans. Another win. Ruby was sensational. The bullpen locked it down. A 4-run D-backs 6th. Goldie homered in the 7th, his 7th of the year. And it all adds up to a Diamondbacks win. More from Coors Field right after this on Fox Sports Arizona.